Hello, thank you for being here with me. This is the Me&You podcast, and I am your host, Rebecca. And I am so very interested in this conversation of sparking what makes you feel special so that you don't need other people to do it for you. And I want to give a little disclaimer about that it's not necessarily like that you don't need others, like others like other people should make you feel special. If you have people who are close to you, I think that they should be doing what they can to make you feel special and celebrating you and all those things. But I more so want to tailor this conversation to how you can create your own specialty and your own uniqueness and how radiant and incredible you are if you're watching on YouTube or you have a visual component. That is my kitty cat. Her big fluffy tail just walked by the camera. But anyway, you are so unique and profoundly special just as you are. And there is no external validation that can replace that inner knowing that you have. And that's what I really want to harp on today. I want to talk about how special and unique we all are, how to dig into that, how to pull that up and live with it and have it in your body and in your experience and in your beliefs, and how that energy ultimately aligns you with most other great things in your life as well. So before we get started, this is a safe place on the internet for all things compassionate community, for self-reflection, for personal evolution. We do change the world from the inside out. And the more that we get together and we talk about these things, we are raising our own vibration, we're raising the vibration of others, and we're creating a more beautiful world. So the more we can heal and work on ourselves, the more that the outer world will begin to heal as well, because it's hard to do hurt onto others when you won't do hurt onto yourself. And that hurt kind of transcends like physical hurt. Like, I mean, like all forms of hurt, like emotional and mental, etc. The first thing I want to say is that most people wait for somebody to make them feel special. Like it's like a reward that has to be bestowed upon them. But that spark already lives inside of you, and it's not found through praise or comparison. And I think if more than anything, you find that when you're waiting for praise or comparison, and you're seeking validation from that, it's such a fleeting moment of validation. Like there's much more of a concrete, grounded center of validation when it's coming from your own belief and self motivation and drive rather than relying on other people to bring that to you. So it's created when you connect and reconnect to what makes you feel most alive, because feeling special isn't an ego thing, it's an embodiment thing. We're all very special, and there is nothing wrong with believing how special you are. This is different than taking that specialty and being like, I'm better than everyone else and everyone else should listen to me and I have better ideas and I know the right way and da 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 da. Like that is something completely, utterly, entirely different. And actually, it brings me to this thought that I've had a lot lately, and I've never quite verbalized it out loud. But you know how we'll say that person is too honest, that person is too kind, that person is too confident. Like when we put like that word too in front of a word that is typically thought of as a characteristic that is a quote unquote good characteristic, then we're saying like, oh, too much of that though is not good. And I'm wondering, and I'm just percolating on this, I'm not drawing a definitive answer, but I'm wondering if actually there is no such thing as too kind or too confident or too trusting. I think at a certain point, if you start to go into an overload with those things, then it stops being too much of that thing and it starts to become something else, like another ingredient has been added to the mix. Does that make sense? So rather than like, oh, you believe like you're too special, it's like, no, you are just as special as you think you are. What sounds like there might be another component adding in there now is you thinking you're better than other people. And that's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Like being too kind, like, is it that you're being too kind, or now another ingredient has been added to the mix and it's not just kindness now? Now it's like self sacrificing and putting others before yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? That is just like a blurb that I've been like percolating on lately. And I'm just really interested to know your thoughts on that. Like, if you have any thoughts on that. And by the way, if you ever have any thoughts about anything you listen to, I know I have, you know, loads of people across the states and some people internationally listening. Like, please send me a DM on Instagram at underscore the Me and You podcast. It's also listed in the show notes. Please, you know, comment on Patreon, or you can send a text to the show, but I would love to know your thoughts. Like, I am deeply invested and I care so much about what you believe. And damn it, by the end of this episode, if you don't believe you are special, I'm going to come over to your house and whack you upside your head, because you are so divine. And there is just something so powerful about believing that you have such a special spark. And I have always grown up believing that I'm special, which sounds crazy and egotistical to say, but I don't think it's unique. Like I do think it's unique, but because we're all unique, but more so like, I think that everybody is special. I just think that some people are connected to believing in it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I always grew up believing that I was special, and it helped me to feel special. And it's not that I'm more special than anyone else. I just think I'm connected to that feeling. And I think sometimes people aren't always connected to that feeling, that like, how unique and divine that your experience exists. There will never be another thing just like you to walk this entire existence. That is so amazing. And the more that we become that, rather than some version of ourselves that we think other people want or that the online world wants, we can become closer connected to our values and to our systems, to our routines, to our, you know, our joy, to our feeling. You know, this human experience is, we're meant to feel, we're meant to experience. Like, we're not meant to avoid, we're not meant to shy away from it, you know? And I think feeling your specialty or your specialness is like catapulting you into your divinity. Like, I feel like it's a direct connection to God. Like, that's just my thoughts about it. When I think God wants you to feel special, or the universe, or the Tao, or your higher self, or spirit, or whatever you call it. But I really believe that it knows your specialty, and it's like waiting for you to like notice it too. And it's loving you all along the way. So yeah, just a little bit more on that though. Like, I really have to emphasize that when I say I believe I'm special, it is not coming from a place of like a hierarchy. Like, I do not believe that at all. I think we're all on the same playing field. I think I see it as a massive field, and everybody is like their own unique wildflower popping up. And I think some wildflowers just have the realization like, holy crap, I'm a wildflower. Like, I'm awesome. But some people, through many, many, many experiences, become disconnected from that. And it's really my hope that this conversation can bring you back to that. So I want to ground us. Let's all take a deep breath together. So go ahead and exhale any air that you've got in your belly right now. And then I want you to take a big breath in through your nose. I want you to feel your chest rise. And I want you to put your hand over your heart. Did you know that just the moment of putting your hand over your heart increases your heart and brain coherence? Just that tiny moment, just that tiny moment. And be with that and feel in your heart what makes you so special. Just believe for 1 second, I'm so special. And then ask yourself, what am I doing when I feel most like myself? Don't overthink it. Exactly what you thought of is exactly right. That's exactly what you were meant to think of. And I want to let you know that whatever image comes up, whatever memory comes up is right. It's exactly right. And no matter how small it is, that is your compass. That is your spark. I want you to listen to that. If you didn't have anything come up, if you're like, Rebecca, I just did that moment and it did nothing for me, please do that moment more, because you have to create the habit of listening to yourself. Your nervous system is like a shut up toddler that is like, I've tried to talk, and I can't seem to get it out. So it's learned to silence itself. And you now are going to go back in and you're going to say, hey, listen, I'm listening. I love you. What do you have to share? Can you tell me, please? You matter. Let's listen, and do that again and again. And the more that we care for ourselves, and I read this somewhere, and I think I read it, it was a quote in The Body Keeps the Score. And I actually think I quoted it on the episode Moving Through Depression with dance movement therapist Paloma Parada. And the quote had said something like, the more that you care for yourself, the love intrinsically arises. Like the two are one and like they're one and together. Like the more that you take care of yourself, the more that you'll learn to love yourself. The more that you love yourself, the more that you will learn to take care of yourself. So I want to talk about celebrating yourself. And I want to know, and I want you to kind of think about this, like, what are your beliefs around celebration? Do you think that you deserve to be celebrated? Do you think that you feel like you need to achieve something to be celebrated? Do you feel like whatever you do to be celebrated has to meet a certain point and then you're worthy of celebration? And what does it look like when you do celebrate yourself? Is it like you buy yourself a little gift? Is it like you go out to eat? Is it that you spend it with loved ones? Is it that you let yourself binge watch your favorite show? Is it that you get yourself a sweet treat? Is it that you give yourself a big hug and warm embrace? Like, how do you celebrate yourself? And how can you celebrate yourself in micro moments? Once again, we're focusing on doing these things for ourselves so that we're not waiting around for someone else to do it for us. Because the process of waiting around for someone else to do it for you makes you so dependent on that person when they do come. Like, let's say the person does come that buys you flowers all the time and writes you notes and hugs you all the time and cherishes you and all the things. Like, you're going to become so dependent on that and that person for seeking that internal validation. And it is gorgeousness that a person would do that for you. Like, that's amazing. That is not a problem at all. That's amazing. But know that you can give that to yourself, and it's going to amplify the meaning when other people do it. And it's also going to have an amplified meaning when you do it. Does that make sense? I don't know. So I want you to think about, like, how do you celebrate yourself? I was talking to somebody I really love lately, and they were saying that they never really grew up being celebrated. Like, that was just kind of the norm. Like, they were like, I don't need to be celebrated. And I was like, everyone needs to be celebrated because everyone needs to be recognized, because it's in a core, like, I believe at the core of human existence, like, we want to belong, like, we want community. So it's a lovely feeling to be celebrated and to be celebrated by others. And when this loved one told me, like, I don't really care to be celebrated or I don't need to be celebrated, I almost, instead, what I was hearing is, I don't deserve to be celebrated. Like, what is there to celebrate? And it's like, whoa, there's so much to celebrate. The fact that you are walking and moving and living and sharing and loving and healing and growing, all of these things and achieving, like, all these things deserve to be celebrated. And I'm not saying you need to have a massive surprise party every single time you do something. I'm just saying, like, what are little ways that you can celebrate yourself and spark your own specialness? And one of the things for me is I love going on artist dates or taking myself on a date, because ritual means reverence. Let me say that again. Ritual equals reverence. The fact that you take time out of your routine and out of your day to sit down with yourself and do something for yourself shows yourself that you matter. Does that, I keep asking if that makes sense. I'm sorry. I think I'm seeking your validation. I'm sorry. But when you spend time on yourself, it reminds your nervous system that you matter. And these little tiny things that you do, these little artist dates, and I can give you some ideas for those, or like little ways to spend time with yourself, is like just creating a belief. And it's like digging up old limiting beliefs that, like, you matter and you deserve to be celebrated. And also the way that when you set the bar for how you treat yourself, you set the bar for who comes into your life. And also when you eliminate and alleviate people and energy in your life that is not meeting that bar, you create space for the right energy and the aligned energy to come in. And I kind of think about it, and this is like a mental exercise I'll do because I love visualization practices, is like, I will imagine that in my mind, in my brain, there are grooves, and they're like they're like soil beds. They're like where you would put plants in. So I go into my mind and I imagine I have a shovel and I'm digging out these limiting beliefs. So it's like weeds, and it's like rotted flowers, and maybe it has mealy bugs and pests. And I'm like raking that out. the limiting belief that I don't deserve to be celebrated or I have to work extremely hard to achieve something. And then that's when I matter. And even then, like it became easy and I don't deserve to be celebrated. Like these thoughts that I have in my head, I'm weeding them out, I'm taking them out, and then I'm going all the way down to the core of it. Like I'm pulling out those roots, I'm pulling out everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the new soil now and the new perlite and the new peat moss. And I'm going to add that all in and create a mix that's like, actually, you're so divine and meaningful and you deserve to be celebrated in all the ways. And it's not an egotistical thing to be celebrated. And it's not an egotistical thing to believe you are unique. And I'm like putting that thought in its place and I'm patting in the soil and I'm watering it every time I do these things that feed into it. For me, there was a long time where I really struggled to let myself have something. Like I really struggled to let myself feel like I had worked hard, like I had achieved something. Every time I did something that was hard and I overcame it, I would say, well, suddenly it became easy. So really, I don't deserve to be celebrated because it actually was the easy task. And I will gaslight myself about the experience. And it wasn't until I had my series of injuries and surgeries that I realized, like, there was, because it was so undeniably hard, like there was just no denying, like it was so full spectrum hard that I was finally like, okay, you know what? That was hard, Rebecca. Like you did a hard thing. And I finally let myself have it. And then once I let myself have it with that, I realized like how many other times in my life have I done something just so hard and I overcame it and I haven't given myself that credit. And it's like, why give yourself that credit? Like, why do you need to do that? Why do you need that validation? It's because it's kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. You have a little child living inside of you and you need to nurture it. I read something a long time ago that little children are like seedlings that need to be watered with compassion and love and careful consistency. And that is exactly how I feel about your true self. That's how you need to treat your uniqueness, is that it needs to be watered and cared for with careful consistency. Also, some ideas for artist dates, like what I like to do, I love to go to like a Barnes and Noble and sit in their cafe section and pick a book from the shelves and sit and read it. I don't even know if that's allowed. Every time I do it, I'm like scared somebody's going to come up to me, but I'm like, oh well. I also love at Barnes and Noble to go through the children's section because it's so whimsical. And for me, it's very nostalgic because I used to love going there when I was a kid. And me and my little sister would dance on the stage and put on performances. And I recently actually did a reading there where I like read in the community and like people like came to listen to like children's stories. Anyway, you can also carve out some time in your week, like maybe an hour, to do something that you really love. And that could be like repotting your plants. That could be taking a bath. That could be taking a really nice shower. That could be going for a massage. That could be creating a project or literally pulling out art supplies and just throwing, like literally doing whatever, like just getting your hands in it. That could be making a really yummy sweet treat or a really good meal that you really enjoy and basking in it, not on your phone and not watching TV, but maybe sitting outside or sitting at the table with yourself and just enjoying it, enjoying the process, like closing your eyes as you eat it and feeling all the different flavor profiles that are in there, you know, like taking yourself out to eat, of course, taking yourself out for a drink, coffee, or whatever. These are all little ways, you know, going on a walk through somewhere by the beach or going to like a plant sanctuary. You can see I really like plants. I do really, really like plants. I'm an earthy gal. But these are all little ways that you can kind of cherish yourself in your alone time and enrich your alone time. And once again, guys, I'm telling you, and this isn't the point of doing it, but it's a beautiful, beautiful byproduct of it, that the more you enrich your alone time, the more you enrich your energy and how you use your space, the more you will align other people and call them in to your space. Like the more that you enrich your own experience, the more you invite enriching energy. Be what you want. If you want blessings, be a blessing and start by being a blessing to yourself, genuinely and authentically, not with the other ingredients added in of ego and hierarchy. And like instead, like believing wholeheartedly that like I'm special and so is my fellow human. No, we're all so unique and special and beautiful. And that makes the world a better place. So your differences are something to bask in. They're not something to shy away from. Finding your uniqueness and maybe even just writing down like 5 things that make your face look different, or 5 things that make your mind different, or 5 things that make your thoughts different. Like, what are the ways that you are thinking, experiencing, looking, believing differently than other people? And your differences are meant to be celebrated and understood. They are not something that is meant to shy away from. We all have differences, and beauty is not meant to look the same. Like, we are meant to be different. And that is so electrifying. Basking in your differences and realizing that they are what make you so uniquely you. And also thinking about, like, how can you spark your uniqueness throughout your week? Like, maybe once a week you do something to express your uniqueness. Maybe you do a dance or a yoga flow or a style choice or a solo walk with your favorite playlist, or some sort of ritual to build your self recognition, because I think your purpose is in your uniqueness. Like, what do you uniquely add to this experience? Because it's almost like a really big pot of experiences, and like, what are you throwing in there? And like, the more that you know that about yourself, I think it really just improves your livelihood. Like, honestly, no notes. Like, I really think that's what it is. But, you know, knowing, like, on the flip side, like, knowing what makes you feel drained and knowing what makes you feel uplifted, this is where you're going to learn a lot about yourself. Like, your spark hides in your energy zones. So find out and reconnect to what makes me feel so alive. Is it going to your favorite jujitsu class, or going to your music class, or is it reading a certain kind of book, or like, what makes you feel so alive? And like, I really enjoyed that. And here are some keynotes for knowing that you feel alive. Like, cause if you're like, okay, well, I don't know what that sensation feels like in my body, like where I come alive about something, think about like fascination. Like, what is something that you are just fascinated about, even when there's nothing provoking it and there's no reward from it? You are just like intensely enthralled by this thing. Or think about something that you're like, I get to do that. Oh my gosh. Or it's something that you feel like passionate about, and that passion might feel like heat in your body, or it might feel like a tingling in your chest, or maybe a tingling in your fingertips because your hands want to get moving. They want to do something. Like, this is where your spark hides. And maybe, like I said, once a week, expressing that uniqueness, doing that thing. And the more you do that thing, the more it will unravel other things that you really enjoy doing as well. Because basically, what we're doing is like, we're building on that muscle of self trust. So, the more that you trust yourself, the more that you'll be able to lean into yourself, the more that you'll be able to express yourself. So, what is something that you can do to enhance your self trust and your self belief, and trying a new thing? And I think trying new things is so cool because the novelty of it is so electrifying to me. Like, it's so stimulating, especially when I work out. I feel like I love trying new videos and like new activities and stuff, because, or new forms of movement, because I'm like, the novelty of it is exciting. It's exciting to not know how I'll like something, and then to discover, did I like it or not? And sometimes we think, like, if we do something and we didn't enjoy it, we're like, oh, that was a waste of time. But it wasn't a waste of time. It gave you very useful evidence as to what you do not enjoy. And that can fuel what you do enjoy. Like, it can help point you in the right direction. So these are a couple things, that you can do to spark your own uniqueness and your own specialness. And I want to say that you don't need to find what makes you feel special. You just ignite it by putting your attention into things that aliven you and things that move you. And the things that move you, things that bring you to tears, or things that bring you to joy, things that bring a smile onto your face before you even realized it, things that make you feel passionate and enraged before you even realize it. These are all things that you care about. And the more that you lean into that self-knowledge, oh my goodness, the world that will open up with that. The more that you inhabit your own senses, the brighter that your energy becomes, because your spark is sacred. So feel it, feed it, and let it light others without apology. Once again, I cannot explain this enough, but you are not egotistical for believing that you are special. Like, you are special and you are meaningful, and you do deserve to believe that. If you're adding other ingredients to the mix, and you're adding ego, and you're adding like thinking you're better than others, that is something entirely different. I am not endorsing that, and I'm not talking about that here. I am talking about just believing that you are a unique spark created by God or the divine or universe, and you deserve to be cherished and basked in to its fullest. You absolutely deserve that. You don't need to do anything for it. The more that you can celebrate yourself, the more that you can celebrate others, the more that you will rely on your own self celebration than other people celebrating you, and the less you require that of other people. And I think that just enriches your relationships, and it makes it all the more special when other people do bask in you. It's funny, I caught myself saying like you don't need to do anything to feel special, because I still have that limiting belief that like I need to do something to feel special, or like something magnificent needs to be done in order to feel quote unquote special. But I don't know why we act like specialness is so rare when it's literally around us everywhere we look. And that's kind of what I'm saying of like, you're special just because you exist. You don't need any validation. You don't need any applause. You don't need any external recognition. There has never been and there will never be another human wired exactly the way that you are. Your laugh, your thoughts, your rhythm, the way that you sense the world. These are all things that make you different. They are not flaws to hide. They are fingerprints of your purpose. You are so magnificent, and I'm so excited for you to realize it. And when you stop waiting for other people to tell you that you're not enough, you start to feel the truth of it pulsing through your body, and you start to breathe differently. You start to stand taller. You move through the world with kind of like a quiet certainty, knowing that you are a one of a kind masterpiece in motion, and that your presence alone shifts the space that you enter. So please do not shrink yourself. Bask in what makes you distinct, and that is where your magic lives. Thank you so much for being with me and just seeing this title to this episode and thinking like, you know what, I'm going to give that a listen, because you are so magical and I wish that you realized it, and I wish I could come into your home and slap it into you so that you know how meaningful you are to yourself and to others. But you're not going to believe you are meaningful to others or the outer world if you're not experiencing that in your own belief and genuine thought within yourself. There's no one else who can make you believe that. Oh, I wish it was true. I have some people in my life that I wish I could make them believe and see the way themselves the way that I see them, but they're going to have to arrive to that on their own. And then once they do, it really sticks. All right. Have a really beautiful day, and thank you so much for being with me. I hope you do something today to spark your uniqueness. I hope you make a weird sound or a weird noise, or that you listen to your favorite song, or that you go on a walk somewhere, or that the way that you touch a leaf when you go past it. What are all the many ways that you bring significance into this world? Think about that, because you do. I love you. Have a good day. Bye.